Alright, we've learned how to add fractions. Now let's look at subtracting fractions. I'm running out of room here for an example, so you can just turn your paper over and do it on the back if you've got a blank back side, or go to a separate piece of paper. So subtracting fractions, week 1. Alright, let me give you an example. Let's say I have 7/10 minus 3/10. Because the two fractions have the same denominator, let's do this as example 1. They have the same denominator. I can go ahead with the subtraction right away. And again, I subtract just the numerators but leave the denominator the same. Now, I'm not finished with any answer unless I've checked to make sure it's simplified. When I was adding fractions in the last exercise, 3/5 is as simple as possible because there's no number other than 1 that goes into both 3 and 5, and 11/15 is also as simple as possible because there's no number that goes into both 11 and 15. But 4/10, on the other hand, has a factor of 2 in both the numerator and the denominator. So when I divide that out, I get 2 on the top over 5, and that's my final answer. Now, what happens if we don't have a common denominator? Let's try this one. 8/9 minus, let's go with 1/3. Alright, I need to find a common denominator when I'm subtracting, just like I had to do when I was adding. So I'm looking for the least common multiple of 9 and 3. Now you might say it's 27, but actually we can go much smaller than that. 27 comes from multiplying 9 and 3. But think about it. 3 goes into 9. So the least common multiple, the smallest number both of these go into, is actually 9, because 9 goes into itself. So the first fraction I don't need to change. Now the second fraction, how do I get to 9ths? I multiply by 3 on the denominator to get the 9, so I need to multiply the bottom by 3, or excuse me, the top by 3 also, to rewrite 1/3 as 3/9. These two are equivalent fractions. So what I'm subtracting then is 8/9 minus 3/9. Again, I subtract the numerators, but I do not do anything with the denominators. I just keep it the same. 8 minus 3 is 5. 5/9 is as simple as possible because there's no number that goes into both 5 and 9. There are many other combinations for subtracting and adding fractions, but I'm going to show you how to do the subtraction on your calculator also, because we'd like to make short work of these problems. So let's look at this last one. 8 fraction key 9 minus, what are we subtracting from it? 1/3 minus 1 fraction key 3, and this calculator simplifies it right away, which we didn't need to worry about anyway, to 5/9. Now what if we have to add or subtract mixed numbers and fractions? Let's say I have 1 3/4 plus, let's go with 7/10. Now I can show you the way to do it by hand, but I'm actually hoping that you start using your calculator for fractions. So I'm just going to show you this one with a calculator. So on this calculator, enter 1 3/4. I need to press the fraction key in between each part, between the whole number part and the numerator and the denominator. So I go 1 fraction key, then the 3, then fraction key, then the 4. Look how that looks. That stands for 1 3/4 in your calculator. Adding to that, 7 fraction key 10. Alright, and I press enter, and it gives me 2 9/20. Now if for some reason I want an improper fraction, so just a numerator and a denominator, no whole part, in this calculator I can actually change it to an improper fraction with the ABC key, but the yellow, the shift key first, because above this, it's going to be hard to see on the video, but above my ABC key, my fraction key, it says ABC to D over C, meaning a mixed number to an improper fraction. So while I've got my answer in here, I'm going to press Shift, my second key, press my fraction key again, press Enter, and it turns it into an improper fraction, 49 over 20, which is an equivalent answer, and it depends upon what they're looking for in the solution. You could go with either answer. You can also arrive at this by doing the whole number times the denominator. 2 times 20 is 40, plus the numerator, 49 20ths. Alright? Let's move on and do a subtraction problem. Let's do a subtraction problem where we get a negative answer. So let's do example 4. Let's say we have 3/7 subtract, let's do 8/9. Now again, I cannot subtract these two just straight away. I can't just do 3 minus 8 and 7 minus 9 because they don't have common denominators. Now we could go through the steps of getting a common denominator, but let's not waste time. Let's go right to the calculator. 3/7, 3 over 7. We're using the fraction key. Subtract 8, fraction key 9. And my final answer is negative 29 over 63. And think about why it's negative. 3/7 is not even 1/2. 8/9 is almost a whole. So you're taking approximately 1/2 minus 1 whole. It's got to be negative because you're taking a larger number from a smaller. If you would like more practice by hand, let me know in class. Otherwise, let's use our calculators for as many of these fraction problems as we can. And please, please, please ask me about your calculator if it doesn't have the same fraction key.